everybody?
What's up, people?
Welcome back to Best, guys.
Are you ready to be your best today?
Are you feeling your best today?
I am feeling actually amazing.
Oh, good. Well, look, it's like that now, but earlier, I don't know why I always have a story before I get started.
Always
but
have a story, y'all.
Today just was not one of my favorites, but I mean, God is still faithful.
Isn't he faithful?
He is faithful.
Won't he will?
Won't he will?
Won't he will? You heard that? Won't he will?
He will. And I mean, God, I just gotta thank you just for really just helping me get into this peace zone right now, because at first, like, I was just struggling.
Come on and testify.
Whew.
Touch your daughter, Lord.
For your
Touch
glory,
her.
for
Touch
your
her.
glory, Jesus. Yes, we are so excited to be back before you guys today.
Yes.
I said before you like we in their face.
Technically on the same.
Forgot. But, so we're happy to be back in your ears right now. With our new topic, which is
Exercise your heart posture,
Wow.
or some of you may have heard matters of the heart, but we want to talk about exercising your heart posture because we don't want to actually talk about matters of the heart, but we want to actually talk about how you actually implement that in your day-to-day activities. So we're exercising.
yeah.
We're not just being readers of the word, we're being doers, right?
Amen.
Doers of the word.
Amen. And guess what, y'all? Y'all know I have to start with my quote of the day.
Come on, Cole.
But actually, it's not even a quote of the day today. It is actually a scripture. Let's take it to the word.
The word.
All right. So the scripture today comes from Proverbs 4:23, and it reads, get ready, guys. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it.
Everything. Repeat that again. Say it again, because
One more time for the people in the back.
For the people in the back.
Proverbs 4:23. This is in the word. I'm not making this up. Above all else, guard your hearts, for everything you do flows from it.
That thing said, guard your heart.
That's a word.
You heard what he said?
That's a word.
Did you hear what he
I
said?
did hear that. So people probably like, what do you mean guard my heart? Like, I'm supposed to have my guard down when it comes to love and different things like that. Don't they always say, let your guard down?
That's the world. That's the world. That's the world.
Hold on, I had to pause for a minute.
She having a flashback. We're gonna bring you back. We're gonna bring you back.
Wait. I had to really pause.
We're gonna bring you back.
But back to the word. Thank you, Jesus. Proverbs 4:23, like, guard your heart.
Because how many times have we left our hearts unguarded and ended up with a broken heart and then had the nerve to say, I'm going, but we're going to keep it holy.
Girl, keep it holy.
Keep it holy because I'm sick and tired of these.
So easy to lose track.
Okay?
Jesus.
But we talking about being better together and
Absolutely.
building essential sister truths, right?
Absolutely.
So we're not talking about those people that we may have been in situationships with, right?
Ooh,
So we're not
that's
talking
good.
about those guard your heart moments. We're
Uh-huh.
actually talking about guarding your heart when it comes to sisterhood
Yeah,
and
yeah.
relationship and building. See, sometimes we get a little caught off guard and we kind of go back down memory lane.
Yeah.
And I know she went back to that
I
such
had
and
a
such
flashback.
who did her wrong, and we almost flattened such and such. I'm just playing, but we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it here and
Girl.
building essential sister truths. But we have some wonderful guests.
Because I was about to say, they just sitting there all quiet, y'all. We have people in the building. Actually, it's our first set of guests today.
Aww.
And we're excited that we have them in the space with us. Welcome in, ladies.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome in. We want to just let y'all know who these people are and why we had to have them in here for this specific topic. The topic is called Exercise Your Heart Posture. And we have Crystal Woods Thomas
Come
in the
on,
building.
missus.
All right, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm really excited that I am one of the first.
Yes. Come on, first.
Come on.
I love it. I am so excited to be here. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank
And I
you.
just pray God's blessings over
Come
this
on, first.
ministry, that everyone that hears this over the airways will feel the anointing just falling fresh through
Come on,
the
Fall
airways,
Fresh.
and that
Listen.
hearts and minds will be renewed and changed. So
Yes.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited about this.
Yes.
Congratulations,
Listen.
ladies.
Thank
Come
you
on,
so much.
Chris.
That was
You
sweet.
Listen, get you some people who gonna pray for you.
Yes. How you come back after that? Well, we have another guest in the house.
Yes.
Get excited. Get excited. We have our producer in the building, Miss Ashley Wilson.
Come on,
Yes,
Ash.
ladies. So much good energy in here.
Yes.
I hope it washes over me.
Yes.
Let it wash over me.
Yes.
Come on and wash. That's what best is all about. So when we are our best, you'll be your best, and together we're empowering people to be their best. Amen.
Yep, we
Amen.
are. What
Come
we're
on.
doing, we're building us to empower you, right?
Oh, come on.
Is that that?
Is that that?
We're building us to empower you.
Come on. Let's
Right?
empower
Y'all
them.
like that?
Let's
It's a
empower
flow. It's
us.
a flow.
How about building us to empower us? I need to be empowered sometimes.
That part.
Okay, come on. Let's do that.
We
All
gotta
right.
be with that. Building us to empower us.
Building us to
as
empower
women.
us. Yes.
As women, we need that. But I'm sorry, y'all. We just got a little carried away because we're so excited about our first guest.
Yes.
Like, we don't have company in here, so we're excited. And we just wanted to talk to you guys to see what y'all feel about this topic. Exercise your heart posture. Like, we invited y'all in here because we know y'all personally,
Right.
and we know that first of all, y'all have good hearts, right?
Yes.
And sometimes your good heart can be misused. Let's go ahead and say that.
Stomped on
And stomped on.
and torn to
But we
pieces.
don't want to talk about the stumping part. We'll leave that to Beyonce and her new record
Yeah.
before I let you go.
My bad.
All right, but so we just wanted to just have you guys to come in and just talk to us about that.
But let me introduce you. Y'all have to let the people know who you guys are.
Oh,
because
of
we haven't
course.
even
I wouldn't-
properly did.
I
So,
almost didn't let them introduce themselves, guys.
Just a
I got
little
so
bit.
excited about the topic. I'm sorry. Let's go. Crystal, let the people know who you are.
Yes, yes. So, of course, as Aranisha said, my name is Crystal Woods Thomas. I'm here from New Orleans, Louisiana,
Yes.
born and raised.
come on, Eno.
I'm so excited to just be here, and just a little bit about myself. I've been working in the human resources area for over 10 years and worked with various companies, and currently right now I'm specializing in benefits. So anything related to benefits, I'm your girl.
Okay.
I'm also a certified professional with the Society for Human Resource Management. I'm a local SHRM member here in New Orleans, and also a national member for the National SHRM, which is Society for Human Resource Management.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm also I'm married.
Come
Come
on,
on
wife.
up for
Come on,
marriage.
wife.
Yes,
Lady.
marriage.
Yes.
I'm married to that very handsome
Come on, handsome. You
Corey
better.
Thomas.
Come on.
I wasn't gonna call out his middle name, but Corey Thomas. We have been married for 2 years.
Aw.
So we're very excited. You know, people still say we're still newly wedding on our honeymoon. So we're enjoying that, you
Yes.
know.
Cute for y'all.
Yes, so pray for us because we're actually in the process of buying a home.
Come on,
So
homeowners.
we'll be closing probably by the end of the month.
Yes.
Let's do it.
So, you know, that's joint partnership, you know.
Come on,
So
yeah.
pretty much she's a boss, guys.
Yes.
Oh my
To
gosh.
sum it all up.
And also, you know, I'm a minister as
Yes,
well
yes.
at my church.
Come on, woman of God.
And
For the Lord.
woman of God,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, that's sometimes something that's ironic,
Yes.
where people aren't used to seeing young women as
Mhm.
ministers in the gospel, but I
Yes.
count it a privilege and an honor to be able to be a part of the kingdom of God
Come on, Kingdom.
and to serve his people. So I'm very excited about that. And that's just a little bit about me. I can go on and on and on.
Come on, cute.
My parents, you know, they're part of New Orleans as well. My father is a pastor here in New
So
Orleans.
she's a
Mm.
preacher's kid.
Preacher's
Come
on,
kid,
PK.
Dr. Calvin W. Woods Jr.
Shout
is
out
my
to
pastor.
Daddy.
Greater lady, yes, yes.
Everybody not shouting out their daddy.
Everybody
Come on
not
now.
shouting out their
Come
pastor.
on.
We hope
Go, daddy, go.
Come
You know
Yes.
what
on,
I'm saying?
Let's do this.
And my lovely mother, the gorgeous
Wow.
Come on.
Constance Woods. She's awesome.
Yes.
And Krista, you're the only child, right?
I am the only child.
So this
How
is
ironic.
This is gonna be a
No,
great
no.
topic because when you're the only child, I know you have different experiences with people
Yeah.
and guarding your heart
Absolutely.
because you haven't had the opportunity to fight certain things through with the sibling rivalry stuff.
Yeah.
So I know it's a totally different experience. So I hope you guys stay
Different walk.
tuned. It's a totally different walk when you're the only child. But
Yeah.
Ash, come on and give us some about you.
Ashley.
So much thunder. So
We'll let you go first next time.
I don't know if I can live up to that.
Oh my
Ash is
God.
being modest, you guys. She's being modest.
My name is Ashley Wilson. I work for iHeartRadio, and I met these lovely ladies at church. And I am new to New Orleans. I've been here about a year and a half, and my background is media and,
Come
and
on.
radio. Yeah, so I am thrilled to be able to help these ladies launch this
Yes.
podcast.
Yes.
We are happy to have you in the NO. So how are you loving our city?
I enjoy it. It is very chaotic. It is never boring. That's what I tell people. There's always something to do. And I love that when I step out the door, I see something new every time.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I walk the same street, I
Wow.
always see something new.
Come
So
on.
it is an exciting place
That's a
to
word.
live, an exciting place to be a young professional.
Yeah.
My job is I'm a program director for a radio station,
Right.
which means that I pretty much run a radio station.
Yeah.
Come on, running boss. We got bosses
Another
everywhere.
boss.
So yes,
Yes, boss.
I am a boss.
Yes, you are a boss. Own that.
Yes, I have a boyfriend. His name is Jason.
Come on, Jason. She's off the
Yes.
market. Okay.
Jason is awesome. He does a lot for me. He washes my clothes, does walks the dog.
Come on and change those roles.
Yeah, he's like my house husband, y'all. I hope I don't get too much hate for talking about that. And I have 2 dogs at home, Rudy and Petey. And they're
Rudy and Petey.
You know, dogs are like the new kids these days, I heard.
Oh yeah. Well,
I heard. I don't
props
wanna...
to all of you women that birth children and raise children.
Yes.
Maybe one day I'll get there, but
Wow.
I'm happy to be a childless woman.
I
I've been
feel
too
you.
busy living life.
Right.
I
And
feel
so
ya.
Ashley and Crystal are both in their 30s. So they're young professional women, right? With the whole world ahead of them.
Young bosses.
Like young bosses. So we're so excited to have you guys here today.
Absolutely.
And I know we emailed you guys that we'll be talking about exercising your heart posture. But before we go into that, I kind of want to hear your take, E, because how could I put it? We've all worked with women, and I know Crystal have worked with different women in different capacities. She's in ministry. She's also in a sorority, and she's also actually, working for a company right now where she's serving in human resources. So she has to interview people, meet people, train people, all of these types of things. But we're talking about women, right? Like, how do we deal with each other, and how do we walk in those places where we can remain loving and kind and all of those great things? Like, how have you been able to just still have this great heart?
Whoa. I didn't think I was gonna go first, but this is really something else. And to answer the question, which was how do I remain in a great heart posture
Right.
towards women?
Women in general. It's been, I know at this point we've all probably endured some form of hurt, heartache, betrayal by
Absolutely.
friends, family, co-workers stabbing you in the back, people dragging your name in the mud,
Ouch.
people you do business with,
Yeah.
right? Business partners, people steal, just all types of stuff. You come across some real ratchet people sometimes. But we have to learn to keep our hearts guarded and continue to allow God to really use us in spite of what we've endured, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do you exercise your heart posture?
Man, I was gonna go somewhere else, but
Okay.
I'm so grateful we read that scripture first that tells us that everything flows from our heart. So that would just been really bad. So, well, actually, for me, I would say that I was one of the privileged people who was always really great with getting along with other women. And it's weird because I grew up with a brother.
Right.
So it was really a situation where I was around so many women in school. Like, I would always be like in a group of girls. Like, I always had these cliques, guys. Shout out to NKB and PYM and the circle, all my cliques in high
right.
school. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. But I always was in a bunch of girl groups. I actually used to sing in girl groups. Like, I just always had a magnet to really getting along with women. But let's talk about those times when, you know, women are like catty in situations like that. I would say I'm pretty good with conflict. I guess that's probably why I was privileged, because like, and let's talk about this part too. I'm also really forgiving. So anything that's done to me, like, I can easily dust it off my shoulder and just come right back. So my experience really was not really bad with women. I actually love women, and I think that they don't get enough credit. Because like I said on our last podcast, like, without a woman, literally nobody would be here.
Right.
Literally.
Right. That's true.
Because it was a woman that brought us all to this place where we are right now. So I would say that it's not easy to always maintain a good heart posture because people do hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
But if you are committed to the who that you are, like me, I'm committed to the who that I am, and forgiving really easily, so it makes things a little lighter.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
So that's my story.
Okay, Chris, what about you? I know you've had to finagle and maneuver in different challenging circumstances at times with women, because oftentimes we think men criticize us and we always say, you know, girl power and things like that, but it's been many times where we've encountered, okay, all right, so we're back recording. So listen, this is what happened. So we've been fasting and praying. Y'all need to have a praying and fasting life, okay?
Amen.
And we've been praying and fasting for God to do some amazing things. And so whenever my alarm goes off, it's that moment to remind us to pray. So we're going to pray as soon as this is over. And we'll probably have to pray twice, because I think we start in the middle of the hour or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But we'll pray
Let
twice.
that
But
be
that's
known.
that's usually what that is. So whenever the alarm goes off, that's what that is. It's time to pray.
And I noticed when we're doing the podcast, that, like,
It
the alarm
always
just
goes
randomly
off.
goes off.
And
I'm
this
just
is
like,
a totally different time.
it's prayer hour, and this is really after hours.
Right.
We recorded actually earlier than this.
I know.
What you trying to say, God?
He wants us to stay prayed out.
He didn't went in there and switched up the alarm clock. I'm sorry, but back to you, Crystal. We all over the place, but we were back to you, Crystal.
I love it. All right, so since we're talking about the heart posture and we're talking about, you know, women and all of these things, as a only child of not having to build a relationship with a sibling or learn about a sibling where someone hurt your feelings and those type of things, as an only child, I'm used to pretty much trying to getting my way,
Right.
you know, and I usually don't have anybody that's trying to compete
Right.
for that attention.
Right.
Now, my parents they weren't that easy on me. They did tell me no, and I was that child that did ask why.
Right.
And I needed to know, and then that's, you know, I got chastised and sometimes, you know, because I questioned my parents and those things. But not until I got to college and I joined this amazing sorority.
She said amazing.
Amazing.
She means it.
The illustrious
Come on.
Illustrious.
Delta Sigma Theta
Yes.
Sorority Incorporated.
Come on.
Yes, Lord. Hallelujah. Ooh, to all my sorors.
All right now.
So it wasn't until I joined Delta Sigma Theta that I began to understand the sisterhood thing.
Right.
Because my line sisters and we had a really close connection that I really I had with other people, but it was kind of like I needed to know these people because I never knew who they were before I met them. Other people other women in relationships, I knew them for a long period of time, so I was able to understand who they were and what they liked and what ticked them off and what didn't. But coming in contact with people that you never met before and trying to build relationships was something new for me. So it was something that I had to work on with my heart posture, because I had to say, okay, Crystal, if somebody disagrees with you, it's okay.
Right.
Like, I would be so defensive sometimes because I'm like, well, why don't you agree with me? and that was something I had to struggle with. But prayer, of course, definitely helps you in every opportunity that you get, because when I think about the heart, the Bible describes the heart as your inner man.
Okay.
So like that's your spirit, your soul, your mind, your emotions, your passion, and your will. So when you begin to put all of those things together, that encompasses your heart.
Okay.
So it's like, so how can I, all of that I just named, how can I exercise that?
Wow.
So it's like, it's almost like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You got to work it out every day.
Come on.
So
teach us
it
something.
comes with experiences. So when you have an experience that tests your heart,
Right.
when you, depending on how you react to it, you have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, did I respond the right way?
Right.
How do I feel after that?
Right.
And if I feel a certain way, where do I begin to start mending it? Or I did a good job. You know, that time I did good. That part was good. So I look at it of exercising our heart as like going to the gym.
Right.
You have to constantly work at it.
Right.
When you're lifting weights, you can't just start off with 200 pounds on the bar.
Yes.
You know, you got to start off with the bar.
Right. Right.
And then from the bar, you got to work your way up. So that's just a little bit, you know, just a little bit how I feel, you know.
I really like that, and I appreciate you going into that, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't, like, when they heard the topic, exercise your heart posture, they like, wow, like, what are you talking about? But I like the fact that you even related it to the gym. Everybody knows that we don't even like to go to the gym, and sometimes we don't even like to put our hearts in the right posture when somebody has hurt us, or like she said, offended us, and you know, you immediately you jump into defense mode because you're like, you hurt me or whatever. But I like the fact that you said it's a process. You can't just go in the gym and start out with 200, just like you can't go in this situation all lovey-dovey and all fluff if somebody really hurt you. It takes time, and it's a process to go through to get to the grounds. Okay. I love it. Hey, Ash.
Oh, now it's my turn.
Yes.
Well, I guess I come from a totally different perspective in that my mother wasn't really a part of my life after I was 11, 12 years old or so.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister and I were always fighting with each other like cats and dogs. I mean, like, we were going at each other like crazy. And I was always the kind of girl growing up that really struggled to become friends with other girls. Like, most of my friends were guys.
Okay.
But I feel like as I've gotten older, and what's really pretty interesting is that I find myself surrounded by women more and more, especially in the workplace. Every management position in my building is filled by a female.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on. Year of the woman?
So I have, as I said, have become surrounded more and more by women, whereas I really kind of resisted it for a long time. And now I'm in a situation where I'm around women all the time. So now I have to come from a place where I want to support other women, and they support me.
Wow.
And it's something that I'm not used to. And even like meeting you ladies, and starting to go to this church, and like bringing my walls down and realizing that women are not out to hurt me. They're not out to get me.
Right.
And in many cases, they're here to support me.
Okay.
And then, I need to come from a place where I'm going to support them as well. And I need to be a lot better about supporting the other women in my life outside of a professional setting.
Yeah.
My sister and friends that I have grown up with and have tried to remain in contact with. And that's tough when you move away from the people that are really important in your life.
Right.
So I have to put in the extra effort to show them that, hey, I'm going to be here for you. I want to be a support. How can I be that in your life?
Wow.
Wow.
That's good.
That's good.
That's
really
amazing.
good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It really is. When you don't have that strong female presence and support in your life.
Yeah.
And you have to be vulnerable and open and willing to allow that to happen, even at this later juncture in my life when it didn't happen when I was younger.
Right.
I feel like it's happening now.
Wow.
That is awesome.
That's amazing.
I think what's extremely profound after listening to you guys is understanding that you guys didn't place the blame on other people
Yeah.
as to why you were hurt or what was going on. I love the fact that you guys all took a step back and said this is what was happening internally.
Both.
What?
You guys both.
All three of them.
Oh, you was calling me too, my bad.
All three of you guys. So you guys definitely took a step back and focused on focused on the internal parts, and I love that. And you can choose to be a victor or a victim. Now don't get me wrong, there are moments where people really, abuse your kindness and take your kindness for granted or weakness and things like that. But I love the fact that we can, although there are moments like that, we can sit back as women and say, well, there's some things I had to work on. Before I was able to hold someone else to this standard, I had to be the standard. And that's what BEST is all about.
Absolutely.
When we're talking about building essential sister truths, we're talking about being a standard so that way I can help you be the standard. We want to bring out the best in each other, right? Not just saying you need to be your best while I act a fool and I'm sitting here, not bringing out who I'm supposed to be. But necessarily when I see you being your best and I see you saying, well, this is what was wrong with me and this is what I did to fix it, it makes me put up a mirror and say, okay, what do I need to evaluate about myself? Why am I saying that, well, this person did this and this person did that? Well, what could I have done differently in that situation? And how could I have responded differently? Or what could I have done to get a different result out of that situation? So I love that aspect of looking at the internal side. But there are also these moments, right, where we have...
And you have to tell your side of the story.
Right, okay. So
I
was literally going to say that I identify my side of the story based off being attacked, right? I literally was attacked verbally by a former employer, and it literally took everything in me not to get up and slap somebody. I mean slap her. And the issue is, right, when you say you a woman of God and you follow Christ and you're a believer, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever people do you wrong, they always want to throw Christ in it. Listen, in this very moment, if I slap you, I'm still gonna be saved.
It won't work.
I'm still gonna be saved. I'm still gonna be saved. But at this very moment, the type of energy you giving off, I have to give that same energy back sometimes. But as being our best, we have to humble ourselves.
Sister truth.
I had to humble myself, right? And I had and what made it very difficult is that we were literally in a huge meeting with everybody in the room. So you're thinking about 20 people and someone talking to you in a very belittling and disrespectful manner, especially someone of another race, right? And so it challenged different parts of me, because if I say something, if I pop off, I'm going to be an angry black woman, because we're in a corporate setting, right? And then if I'm quiet, then everybody's like, I know she didn't like to talk to you. Like, because everybody is looking at what you're going to do. So I had to really say, okay, my mind was like, chill, Sade. But my hand was like, go slap this. But I said, you know what? If I get up and I react in any irate way, I'm going to lose my witnesses.
Yeah.
And that's the part that irritated me, because the enemy is always trying to call your hand when other people are watching.
Tell them what you mean by you're going to lose your witnesses.
So when you're in certain settings, like in every setting that I'm in, I'm a believer, right? I don't usually compromise on that. I don't go around talking about Jesus to everybody, because everybody don't believe the same way as I do. But everyone knows based off the way I carried myself, or even if they had advice, my space was the come and tell Sade whatever your problems are, she's going to pray with you type of situation. Yeah. And so everyone in the office knew where I stood in the things of God and with God. And so this particular person knew this as well, which is why you gotta Just not let the enemy try your hand. Because let me tell you, she knew I couldn't do anything in that type of setting, but she still was playing with me. Anyways, so I had to humble myself and I had to swallow what took place, and I said, God, somebody better say something quick, because right now I can't contain myself. And it just so happened one of the guys that was that very sweet guy, he stepped in and intervened, and he controlled the rest of the meeting. So after the meeting, of course, I'll go back to my office, and all of these people come to my office and say, oh my gosh, that was so rude, and she was so mean, and I'm so sorry this happened to you. Why did you let her talk? So I have the kind people who like, I'm so sorry it happened. And I have other women who like, don't let her play with you. If you want us to, and I'm like, first of all, we are all professionals here, okay? And so you have to make a decision in that moment. If I would have popped off, people would have responded in the same way, or they would have seen me in a different way. So I said, you know what, let me humble myself. And because I humbled myself, and I told them why, I said if I would have said anything irate or disrespectful, she would have won in that instance. Yeah. Not really won the battle, but she would have won as in she would have been able to say that I'm not who I said I am. Because everybody say they're a believer until you get in situations where you really have to exercise if you're a real believer. Yes. So in that moment, part of exercising your heart posture is humbling yourself, right? Yes. And not clicking out when you have she was a known enemy towards me or whatever. So that's what made it even worse. You know how people know somebody don't like you, and she know people know she don't like me. So when she did it, girl, I don't want to go there. But anyway,
I just wanted to commend you on that.
Yeah, you don't want to come down to someone's level when they're acting like that.
That's
I
what
love
I'm
that
saying.
When you go low, I go high.
Come on, Michelle. Come on.
Yes.
Listen, and I had to choose to go high. It was a very difficult situation. But in that moment, as women, we don't need to be fighting. Mm-hmm. And then second of all, as a believer, I didn't need to show people that we can't contain or control ourselves. One of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control.
Absolutely.
So you have to maintain that, right?
Yes.
So I really appreciated how you said she was a known enemy to you, right? A known enemy. That just brings me into my next question. Like, how is it possible for you to love your enemies? How is that possible? We talking about exercise your heart posture, right? We talking about building essential sister truths. Sister, I need your truths. How is it possible for you to love your enemies, Crystal?
Let's not call them enemies. Let's say this. We all have not been our best
enemies.
All right. So technically they're our enemies, right? But at that appointed time, they're usually hurt. Right? Because hurt people. And when they're not healed, they usually lash out at you. We've all been there where we had a moment where we lashed out or we attacked people, not, sometimes intentionally. But, I won't say enemy. That's just
Hold up. Let me look up the enemy definition.
She's really gone to the dictionary, y'all.
The definition for enemy is a person who is actively opposed or hostile to someone or something.
Okay.
That's an enemy.
Okay.
So in any way you put it, they on the opposite side of the fence.
All right.
And they're acting hostile to you. And they're actively opposed to you. So that's an enemy.
Okay, how you love your enemies?
So back to the question, Crystal. How is it possible for Crystal to love her enemies?
Jeez.
Well, first of all, the Bible tells us in Matthew 5, Jesus teaches us that we are to love our enemies.
Absolutely.
That's true. How you
and that sounds real good.
That do sound good.
It sounds good.
It sounds so good.
Oh, that sounds good because
good.
that's the first thing we say.
Yeah.
Because Jesus tells us to love our enemies.
Love them.
But how do we do that?
How you do that?
We do that by, I think it's more of having self-control and being the bigger person. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, a key thing, it was a known enemy.
Yes.
It's easy to deal with your known enemies, but the undercover enemies are the ones that you don't know how to respond to.
They catch you off guard.
Yes. A song called them, like backstabbers.
Come on,
so
sing a little clip of that for me. How that go?
They smile in your face
all the while
trying to take your place. The backstabbers.
Backstabbers.
Come on, y'all. Okay, stand them.
But I think goes back to you, the individual.
Yes.
Because once you are sure within yourself, other people that may disagree with you or may not like you are going to constantly do things to get a reaction out of you.
That's true.
Because I find that people that don't like you, they don't like you because they really don't know you.
Right.
And they don't understand you.
Right.
So how can you say you're my enemy, but you don't even know who I am?
You don't know me.
You don't know me. You just know my first name and my last name.
Come on.
And that's it.
And my social media.
And your social media.
That you glance at daily.
Come on. Watching all my stories.
But I think to overcome that, you said watch all your stories. But I think the best way to overcome or diffuse the enemy thing is by having that self-control of yourself to be the bigger person.
Yeah.
Still be kind.
Yep.
You know, it's because I hate when people are just nasty to each other for no reason.
Right.
Because if you feel like you have to be nasty with somebody, it's best for you to just step away and remove yourself from the situation, because it's going to continue to get intense.
That's true.
So be the bigger person, step away and say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this right now. And sometimes you have to not be afraid to part ways with people.
Right.
You have to be, you know, and to the point of with your supervisor and things like that, you have a certain way that you have to respond because they're still your supervisor. And you know, they're your superior, and you have policies and procedures that say how you're supposed to act towards your supervisor. But you have to think about it, those supervisors are accountable as well. They have to act in a certain manner as well as the superior.
Safe space.
Not only you have the book, so you're gonna have to give that to us once you leave. Thank you.
Yes, but that's how I would deal with overcoming the enemy space. You know, I think it's just something that you have to work at, but you can't give in to what they want. You can't give them the reaction that they're expecting you to give, because sometimes people just want to ruffle your feathers just so you can jump out of character, so they can prove that you're not the person that you say you are.
That's absolutely true.
We trying to love our enemies, y'all. We trying to love our enemies.
Crystal, that was amazing.
That is.
Thank you. Wow.
I want to come from it from a different perspective, because knock on wood, I don't have any known enemies. But I want to go back to something that you guys talked about in your last podcast, and that's who you put on your front row. Who it is that you allow in your life. And there's been so many situations where I have recognized where there are people that are just negative forces. And I need to remove myself from that situation. And I don't want to give those people any of my energy, any of that space in my life. And I wish them the best, and I don't want to say that I love my enemies or I want to send love to them, but I will wish them the best, send some good vibes their way. But for my own personal happiness, I need to not give them space on my front row, or in my life, or in my head or my heart, and so I mentioned earlier that, you know, my mom's not a part of my life, and instead of being bitter toward her, my mom walked out of our lives when I was 11, 12 years old. And instead of being bitter toward her, I just don't give any of that space in my life. And maybe that's something I need to go to therapy for and come to terms with. But if I sat here and I was bitter about my mom not being a part of my life every day, then I would just be a miserable person.
Absolutely.
So you guys are talking about heart posture, and that situation and thinking about it just does not serve me. And I have come to that point with some other people in other situations, and in work situations where it's not a good situation. It's a very negative situation that it just does not serve you. And I've quit jobs over that.
Wow.
Because I deserve better.
Right.
Yes.
Come
Okay.
on.
Know
Yeah.
your
Yes.
worth. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So how
That's
can
good.
you have a good heart posture if you have these negative forces bringing you
Right.
down?
Right.
If you allow that negativity and that bitterness in your life, you need to remove those things.
Right.
You've got to walk away from them because they don't serve you.
So basically, you're saying, why struggle if you don't have to?
Mm.
Pretty much.
Exactly. But like I said, I probably need to go to a therapist and talk through some of this stuff. I mean, it's going to come out at some point. It really is. But I just don't let it, I don't let it invade my everyday thoughts.
Yes.
Right.
It's better
Yes.
for me to just live my life.
Yeah.
Live your best life.
Exactly.
And
And
give
yes.
yourself credit, actually. That
Yes.
actually is an act of love.
That
like,
is.
You knowing that you're
Loving
not.
yourself.
Yeah, first of all, loving yourself and you knowing that this doesn't suit me well, so I'm not going to pretend with you.
Right.
That's love in my book. If you don't pretend with me, that's love.
Right.
Are you facing the fact that you can't even, like, I love you enough to not have you in my space because I don't know how I'm going to react. That's
Right.
love.
Right.
That's love. So
Yeah.
give yourself credit, girl.
Yes.
That's love. That's an
Yes.
act of love.
Yeah, I think it's really hard when it comes to family because
Yeah.
you feel like
Yeah.
you're supposed to love these people,
Yeah.
and I do. I love my mother for bringing me into this world.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, but that doesn't mean that I have to allow her in my space
Right.
if it's affecting me in a negative way.
Some
Yeah.
things are unhealthy, and you're
Yes.
woman enough to admit in your sister truth that it's not healthy for me to have you in my space. I
Right.
love you, thank you, but all love ain't good love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean,
And I think,
Yeah.
Ashley, you said something profound as to this isn't serving me. And when we're at restaurants, what happens? When a waiter brings out something you don't like, you send it back. So just
Yes.
because someone is serving you something, you don't have to take anything,
Yeah.
right? If I
Yes.
order steak, I don't want the
Good.
salmon. I want the steak.
Yes.
So, whatever it is,
I
you
love
have
it.
a choice in what you receive and what you take. You don't have to accept anything.
Yes.
And part of loving yourself is saying, I have boundaries, and
Yes.
at this point, these boundaries are in place to protect me so
Yes.
that I don't go off the deep end, hurt you or hurt anybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I love that about it, right? So that
that's
was
great.
awesome.
Actually, that's great. That's great. That was really, really good. I mean, dang.
Listen.
Especially if you're hungry, that was good. I'm really hungry.
That's
right now.
nothing like being like you starving and somebody bring you something that just you like. I didn't come to this particular place for
Yes.
this. I
Yeah.
came for this. You know what? I don't want it out. Let me go. Like
Yeah,
I've
you
really
starving.
walked out of places like that, but I've walked away from people like that. You know, you're supposed to give if you're my friend, if you're whatever. I don't need you putting me down. I don't need you not having my best interest at heart or just talking to me reckless. I came to you for uplifting me, supporting me, encouraging me, and all of this. You. Let me get my purse.
Girl,
Like,
and if you starving for your peace and then you starving for your righteousness,
Okay.
you
Come
gonna
on.
send it back.
listen.
Yeah,
Come on, seriously.
When you
I had to
gain
get it-
peace, you gotta protect it at every cost.
Okay, actually.
Have you guys watched that Marie Kondo show on Netflix, the Art of Tidying Up? One of the things in that show is that if something is not serving you, even if it's a material thing, a
Right.
piece of clothing
Yeah.
or an item in your house, if it's not serving you, if it doesn't bring you joy, then thank it for what it did for you.
Yes.
Yes.
How it served you.
Come
Yes.
on.
Yes, just give it that gratitude and let it go.
Come
Yes.
on,
Find out
let
Miss
it
Wilson
go.
is a minister.
Yes.
Yes. So guys, this conversation has been flowing and we're so
Yes.
excited about it. Like, just to have women of different races in one room just coming together in agreement on certain things and let's talking about the purity and also imperfections of our hearts. I
Right.
mean, that's the reason why we had to have you guys here. Amazing women, guys, on a whole nother level. But at this part of our show, as y'all can hear the beat, it just comes in so smoothly. We want to take the time
Come on, time.
to celebrate our girls.
Yes.
To celebrate our girls.
Come on, Eve.
to celebrate our girls.
She got bars, y'all. Spit some.
I almost did. But this part of our show is called Women Celebrate Women. WCW.
Yes.
Dub-C-Dub.
Dub-C-Dub.
Well, we take this part of our show and celebrate. Sometimes it's one woman, but on today, we want to celebrate two phenomenal women
Yes.
who has come in and really showed up for us today. We really want to say we appreciate Crystal Woods Thomas.
Yes.
And we want to celebrate you on today.
Yes.
For all of your accomplishments and being a woman boss. Come on, somebody.
She is a boss, y'all.
And also Ashley Wilson.
Yes.
A woman boss.
Ash.
And also being able to come in here and really speak your truth and really like saying, look, I understand what y'all saying, but I'm about to come from a different perspective.
Yes.
We appreciate that, and we want to celebrate y'all for everything that y'all are doing at this time.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for even being here. Like, keep going, keep uplifting, keep
Yes.
empowering, keep encouraging, and giving
inspiring
life.
people.
Come on,
Yes,
guys.
keep inspiring
Yes.
people.
And I want to give props to all the lady bosses.
Come on.
I think we've come a long way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I work with a bunch of lady bosses.
Yeah,
Raise it
absolutely.
up.
Yes.
Yes. Big ups to all the lady bosses, all the boss chicks.
Yes,
Yeah.
boss
And
chick.
also happy belated Mother's Day to all the
Yes.
boss mothers
Happy
out there.
belated.
You are precious to us. If it wasn't for our mothers, we wouldn't be here.
Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
most definitely.
Yes, so I just want to thank you all for having us
Of
on
course.
today. This was phenomenal.
Thank
This
you
was
so much.
phenomenal. So
You
I'm
guys
very
have
excited.
truly been a blessing to us. Crystal, you guys, as you know, she's in ministry. She has picked us up off the floor, prayed us through some
Yes,
situations
literally
and
picked us up off the
circumstances, literally picked us up off the floor, prayed us through some situations. She has truly been the definition of what a sister is.
Yeah.
So she's a boss, but she's truly been a phenomenal sister as
Yeah.
well. And I tell you, I would not be the woman of God that I am today without her. So I
Wow.
celebrate you, and I really bless God for allowing you to inspire so many other young women. And Ashley, we wouldn't even be in this room without Ashley, right?
Yes.
So like literally they have literally contributed spiritually and also business wise to the who that we are today. So we celebrate y'all, and we encourage you guys to continue to go get more people like us and be an
Yeah.
inspiration and lift those young women up as well. We love y'all.
We love y'all too.
Thank y'all so much. So, guys, we are so grateful to be here, and we're so grateful to be able to wrap this up on a clean note.
Yes.
And we just want to let y'all know, guys, we are excited about everything that women are doing, and
Yes.
we are going to continue to uplift and inspire y'all along our journey. We are building,
Essential sister truth.
and we're building us to empower us.
Yes.
So we will see you guys next time, or you will listen to us next time. I keep forgetting, guys. Sorry. My bad.
She's gonna be on a TV station near you, so just stay tuned, y'all. Like it's our destiny. Like you're gonna see her literally on TV soon. So continue to stay tuned.
We thank y'all so much for joining us. See y'all next time. Sorry.
Wait, before we close out, Crystal, let the people know how they can find you.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yes, there are several ways that you can find me. I'm Crystal W. Thomas on Facebook. I am also on Instagram as Mrs.
Yes, Mrs.
C.W. Thomas on
Mrs.
Instagram. Those are the only two things that I'm on.
Okay,
Okay.
So,
social
I
media.
haven't gotten to Twitter and all of those things yet.
It's coming.
But
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome.
Yes.
And you can find me at Ash on the Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and at WNOE.com.
All right.
Yes. So
And
that
you-
was our show, guys.
I don't know about you, but I kind of like my man.
Is this one on the blooper reel?
Roll shot.